So when I was on dialysis, especially when I was on in center, I spent a lot of time journaling, just book after book. And some of the journals that I made, I end up throwing away, just because like they didn't reflect anymore of how I felt, and I just didn't want to go back and revisit them. But when I was in center, I spent a lot of time writing, just journaling, inner thoughts. My journals were a safe space for me. I would write down just how I felt. I would make entries about how I felt, regardless of how, whatever it was. Didn't matter how dark it was. I just put it in the journal and it was just for me. And I would get those emotions out. And I would put them down and make them physical and make them real. And then, just get them out of me and not hold on to that stuff. Now, granted, because of the nature of me doing dialysis and how I felt about dialysis and how I still feel about dialysis, things always came up. Like emotions, like negative emotions, especially for me in particular, always came up. So I always had, new things to put down in the journals. And much like everything else, it would always be like this ebb and flow. And sometimes I would feel like journaling and sometimes I didn't. Sometimes I would be feeling a certain type of way, sometimes I wouldn't. Sometimes I feel like drawing, I draw instead of write. If I felt like gaming, I would game instead of writing. It just depended on the day. But if I was feeling a particular certain type of way about something, that's when the journals would come in. Again, I would put anything in the journals because nobody else was going to read them but me. No matter what it was, no matter how I was feeling, no matter how dark it was, a place I was in, I would write it down so I wouldn't hold on to it as much. So when I say dark, I would go to like really, really dark places. And some of you can probably like decipher what I mean by that. But whereas I do speak very openly about that, all of that stuff went into the journal. It was just, I would use the journals as open writing. Like I wouldn't censor myself at all, whatever it was. But the darkness aside, I would also put things in the journals that I felt really good about. Regardless of however minuscule it may be considered. Because not every day was just a horrible day. It can't rain all the time. But that being said, even if it was just, if I just had if the weather was good, it goes in the journal. If I was feeling good that day, it went in the journal. If treatments went well, it would go in the journal. Or rather, if treatments went smoothly, it would go in the journal. If I purchased something new, it would go in the journal. And I'm a toy collector. Like I collect action figures, I collect a variety of different things. I build model kits, I do all sorts of different stuff. If I was looking forward to a new release or if something came out and I got it and it's something that I wanted, it goes in the journal. But in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, there's a lot of people that will disagree with me. But the last thing that I ever wanted to do was just push it down and just ignore that all that stuff existed and just be super happy all the time just pretending, because that wasn't going to help me. Because from my experience, the more things that you ignore, the more they manifest themselves in other ways in your life. I'll give you an example of what I mean. My father ignored all the trauma he experienced from his father who was abusive, and as a result, he became an alcoholic. That's not the result I wanted. There's this idea that men expressing themselves is just this horrible, disgusting thing that no man should ever partake in. Just suck it up, buttercup, crack open a bottle of Jack Daniels and just keep it moving. The world doesn't care. I disagree. As a man myself, I had to find a space that was safe enough for me to do that. And not every space is safe for men to do that. And that's where things like therapy comes in. I'm very much an advocate for therapy. And some people believe they don't need it. Okay, that's great for you. But I think things like journaling and seeking out professional help are great resources to process emotions, especially when you are somebody as a dialysis patient that is under a tremendous amount of stress on a regular basis. I don't care how grateful you are to be on dialysis. I don't care how happy-go-lucky you may be or pretend to be. Dialysis is hard. It's hard on everybody. I get people in this space that, oh, God, well, dialysis was easy for me. It was easy to choice. Okay. All right. But there's a lot of people out there that do struggle. And journaling helped me.